What's up, everybody? I'm back with another reaction video to the Fat Files. This one talking about the Cracker Barrel rebrand. I was so curious to hear his take on it after my huge enjoyment of his Arizona Tea video, CEO video. So before I continue, please follow me in the links in the description below, like my YouTube channel and Twitch channel, where I react to videos, review movies, TV shows, and comic books, as well as stream video games. So, without further ado, let's hear his thoughts on the Cracker Barrel rebrand that happened a year ago.
Current event dog pile type content, but nobody seems to be pointing out what is incredibly obvious to me, that this company might be pulling off the greatest marketing stunt in the past decade. Today we're talking about Cracker Barrel. If you don't know, they rebranded recently and absolutely everybody hates it. This is not a political war thing where the left likes it and the right doesn't, or the right likes it and the left doesn't. No, everybody across the political spectrum has come out and said, we absolutely hate what you've done with this.
Look how they massacred my boy.
It genuinely might be the most unifying thing that has happened to the United States of America since 9/11, okay? Do you know how bad you gotta fuck up to, in 2025, get Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom on the same page? The official DNC Twitter account even said, we think the new Cracker Barrel branding sucks too. Okay, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm gonna rephrase it a little bit differently so we're all on the same page. Cracker Barrel, aka a restaurant unironically and literally named Cracker Barrel, that has been accused of LGBTQ discrimination and racial discrimination, and when you walk inside is decorated as though it's Minnie's haberdashery from the Quentin Tarantino movie The Hateful Eight, has rebranded and remodeled some of the restaurants, and they fucked it up so bad that even the woke leftists are like, no, the segregated bus stop vibes were better, bring it back. They've literally done such a bad job that
I never been to a Cracker Barrel. I always wanted to, so I never knew there was anything wrong with it.
almost feels like it's intentional, and I think it might be, and we're gonna get into it right after a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Supremacy World War III. It is a free online PvP strategy-based game where you get to act out a military in modern day. You can pick a country, or you can play the US battleground, and you can pick your favorite state, which is my favorite way to play, and obviously I'm gonna pick Iowa every single time, unless it's a drinking competition.
One, we're not babies. And two, we're not that drunk.
But it gets better because right now for season 18, they have the cataclysmic mutation elite bomber that appears to be based off the B1, the Bone. Start off with a little history, how the company came to be. Why? Because you got to understand where the company comes from to understand where it's going or where it should be going, right? Makes sense. So Cracker Barrel was started by a guy by the name of Dan Evans. Dan Evans was a Marine that joined after World War II, went, fought in Korea, came back home, worked a couple of different jobs, and then went to work in his family's oil company, going to gas stations, basically being a salesman for gas to small gas stations. Now, during the same time period, in the couple of decades after World War II, America was building and finishing its interstate highway system. Basically, America saw Germany's Autobahn in World War II and was like, oh, that's a good idea. We're going to win this war and then steal that idea, which is exactly what we did. Now, the problem at the time, or at least for Rob Evans, was this meant that people were going to be using these massive interstates to just cut right through the land, and they weren't going to be taking all the small highways that everybody used before, and this put a lot of smaller gas stations out of business. Rather than just slowly decline and go out of business and fade into nothing, Rob Evans said, okay, we've got this new thing. It's kind of cool. Massive highway, goes really fast. People are traveling further, faster, that's great, but it does have some shortcomings. These massive interstates don't cut right through the middle of towns like these highways did. And people that are traveling for hours on end are still gonna need gas, they're still gonna need food, and a lot of them are still probably gonna wanna pick up knickknacks and souvenirs to say, hey, I was in this place, like a shot glass or a magnet or whatever the fuck.
No, Dad, not that, please.
Here you go, sport.
So that's what he built. He built the first Cracker Barrel. It was a gas station slash restaurant slash souvenir store, and he slapped it right on the interstate in Lebanon, Tennessee in 1969. And to nobody's surprise, it was outrageously popular. It was the one-stop shop concept.
1969, perfect name. Honestly, Cracker Barrel is like a brilliant name. Okay? Racial undertones aside, that was pretty good. Especially for 1969. I'm pretty sure a lot of black people back then was like, smart name, good for white people, not for us. But I'm pretty sure over time, it's just like, you know, it became very inviting for anybody who's coming by, stopping by for gas and food and stuff. It just had a very funny name. We look back on it now, it's a very funny name. Cracker Barrel. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't need to be super sensitive about it.
Except you're driving down the road for 6 hours straight. You've got 4 more hours to go. Oh, look, there's one spot I can stop. I can get gas, dinner, and a souvenir. Perfect. Then I'm going to get back on the road. The entire concept kind of felt like a general store back in the Old West. Like, it doesn't matter what you're looking for. You have to go to the only store in town to get it. And if they don't have it, they'll order it. So that's what he kind of themed it after. He themed it after an Old Western general store. And because of that, he decided to name it Cracker Barrel because back in the Old West, the general stores had barrels that were full of crackers.
Don't do that. What? Why are you winking at me?
From here, the business grew like wildfire, but the interstates were becoming, more and more of a thing. Gas stations were popping up. People were copying the same strategy. So he's like, gas isn't really making us that much money. We're going to drop the gas portion and we're just going to be a restaurant with this souvenir shop in it, but we're still going to be right on the interstate. And that is how we arrived at the Cracker Barrel that we all know today. It is a Western general store themed restaurant that serves Southern food and has a gift shop up front that is actually secretly evil, but genius at the same time. That little knickknack shop up front is responsible for 20% of Cracker Barrel's overall revenue, and they made like $3.5 billion last year, meaning they're moving like $700 million worth of knickknacks every single year. I know what you're thinking, how is that even possible? Because if you have a family and you go to Cracker Barrel, that gift shop is like a family-friendly version of the Saw movie.
Gary.
What do you want? Awake. What?
You are completely surrounded by armed mousetraps.
There's a 15-minute wait at the restaurant. You now must stand inside of an old-timey toy store for 15 minutes with your small children and not be compelled to buy them a harmonica and a cap gun. Mission fucking impossible, okay? Sorry, I'm trauma dumping. Anyways, now we're in modern times. In 2023, they got a new CEO, Julie Messino, okay? Now, the CEO that she replaced was more or less shit-canned very politely. They didn't fire her, they accelerated her retirement plan. Okay, whatever, that's fine. They have a new CEO, this Julie Messino person. Is she an inside hire from the company that understands the culture and what makes the company successful? No, of course she isn't. We're gonna bring in somebody else that's an industry expert and they're gonna know how to fix everything, which never ever works. But you know what? Maybe she's the exception. Okay, what's her background? Oh, she was the head of marketing at Starbucks. Not looking great, okay? You know what company doesn't need marketing? Starbucks. Have you ever seen a Starbucks commercial? Yeah, me neither. You ever seen a Starbucks ad? No, not really. Starbucks' business model is they're fucking everywhere, and do you want caffeine or not? The end. Being in charge of the head of marketing at Starbucks is like being in charge of selling ass candles to dogs. You can't fuck that job up. On top of that, Starbucks isn't even really trying to sell coffee. They're trying to sell gift cards so they can continue being the world's biggest unregulated bank, which I did an entire video on. We're not gonna get into it. After that, she was the president of Taco Bell, okay? That sounds like it could be pretty good, but I promise you, it's not. Okay, Taco Bell is owned by Yum Brands, and Yum Brands is a conglomerate that owns KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut, and that conglomerate is owned by Pepsi. Why does Pepsi own fast food restaurants? Well, because in the 1970s and the 1980s, when Pepsi was trying to become a major household name, they could not compete with Coke because every restaurant in America had Coke machines and nobody wanted fucking Pepsi. So Pepsi went and bought 3 major food chains to force them to have Pepsi inside of the restaurant so they could force feed it to people and convince them that Pepsi was better. Pepsi literally said, we have no reputation and no customer base. We're gonna buy 3 entities that have a massive following and we're gonna use that to force feed our product into people.
Put it in your mouth and just eat it. God, I hate it. I don't care whether you hate it. You said you do it.
Which means ultimately at the end of the day, all they care about is the restaurants breaking even, maybe. They don't give a shit if the restaurants do good. They just want to sell more Pepsi. If so facto, all of her experience at being an industry expert is by working at a company that's fucking up to something other than selling good food to people, right? Starbucks is trying to be an unregulated bank and Yum Brands is trying to force feed people Pepsi. There's an ulterior motive. They don't really care how the company does. But Cracker Barrel doesn't have that. The only thing they're up to is strong-arming me into buying a harmonica for my 4-year-old so that I slowly go insane. So she comes in 2003 and is like, you know what we need to do to fix everything with this company that's been functioning just...
If they sell pocket watches, I actually would buy it. Because I don't know, maybe it's because the whole steampunk kind of look to it. I kind of want a pocket watch. Matter of fact, I will be going to C2E2 this year. So if you manage to see me walking about and you want to take a picture or you want to talk, hey, I'll be there. But I do want to see, because it was like at least a few, like 3-4 years ago at C2E2, I saw at one of the kiosks someone was selling like pocket watches, but I didn't have to, already spent like a decent chunk of money already, and I couldn't really splurge on the pocket watch. But this year, if I manage to see a pocket watch, I'm buying a pocket watch, so I can just have an excuse to put it out of pocket and just go to thing, kind of like some kind of old timey thing. I don't know.
Fine for the past.
Those old timey stuff is kind of fun. It's kind of like 70s bell bottom jeans. It's like somehow they kind of came back around to be popular again.
Fucking 50 years, we should absolutely change everything. We'll do exactly the same thing we did with Taco Bell. We'll take a logo that's awesome and retro and cool, and then we'll make a minimalist version with less colors that everybody fucking hates.
Yeah, I did hate that. It's like, oh my god, thank you for like saying that. That sucks. What was wrong with the previous logo? And, don't get me started on how like a lot of these restaurants look on the outside, their buildings, they're so bland and boring and soulless. The only exception is maybe White Castle. They still maintain the White Castle look. Everything else looks like a very generic building with the restaurant's logo on the front, so you can know what it is. You remember what McDonald's and Pizza Hut and Taco Bell used to look like back in the 80s and the 90s? It looked so much fun. They make you want to go there for no apparent reason, just to mess around the ball pit or just to hang out. Now it's just like, okay, people really sit down and eat anything like they used to enjoy the ambiance. So just try to get them in and out, kind of thing. It sucks, man.
Because every time somebody looks at a logo of a multi-billion-dollar company, they want to look at it and say to themselves in the back of their head, I wonder how much the graphic designer got paid, because I could have done that shit on Microsoft Paint. And then we'll go inside to the restaurants, we'll strip all the cool shit off the walls, we'll paint everything white like it's a rental property, and then put half of the cool shit back up with little plaques that tell you what it is, so it looks like a museum exhibit. The same exact thing that we did to Taco Bell. Look what they did to my childhood. Taco Bell used to be beautiful inside and out. It was absolutely fantastic, and now look at it. It's just a giant square blob of minimalist millennial gray bullshit. Modern Taco Bells look like they got designed by a middle-aged white woman wearing Ugg boots who got all of her ideas off of Pinterest. I'm legitimately surprised they haven't changed their slogan from think outside the bun to something stupid like live, laugh, love. Oh wait, fuck, they did that in 2012, because when you go to Taco Bell, you're supposed to live Moss now. I hate it. Oh, I hate it.
I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It
gets the people going.
So, is Cracker Barrel gonna go downhill? Almost certainly. As soon as they announced this remodel and their rebranding, they lost 12% of their market share. $94 million just fucking erased from existence. And so far, the only response that Cracker Barrel has given out to enormous public backlash is to send the CEO onto the news to talk to Michael Strahan, an ex-NFL player that retired when I was in like 8th grade, but somehow still looks way younger than me. And she goes up there and has the balls, or the ovaries, whatever, to look everybody in the face and gaslight us and be like, actually, people love the new design, despite the fact that nobody does.
Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing. I'll give you another soundbite. The number one question that I got asked, Michael, was, how can I get a remodel? When can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list?
Oh, really?
So the feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but from our team members.
Are you sure your tax expert is right?
These ads are killing me. And they're the long ones, too.
Phrasing?
Yeah. But they end up changing back the logo. Clearly, nobody loved it.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit
that I have ever heard.
So I'm 90% sure that Cracker Barrel, as we know it now, is gonna die off in the next 5 years, but there's a 10% chance that this is the most brilliant marketing stunt of all time. Okay, hear me out. They've lost $94 million, sure, but that's all stock price bullshit, right? That's not real. It's not a realized loss yet, okay? It's all on paper. It's imaginary. It doesn't exist.
It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart. It's not fucking real.
In exchange for that 94 million imaginary dollar loss, they've gained hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of free publicity. When's the last time you heard about Cracker Barrel in the news? Fucking never. Cracker Barrel is the talk of the town right now. But it's all negative publicity. Yeah, sure, but haven't you ever heard the phrase, there's no such thing as bad publicity? Okay, they've done such a shitty job, it's almost perfectly shitty, okay? This isn't a catastrophe. There's a 10% chance that this is a controlled demolition on purpose, okay? Because here's the kicker. All the news articles are like, Cracker Barrel remodeled. Cool. They don't actually tell you that all Cracker Barrels didn't remodel. Only 30 of the 660 Cracker Barrels got a remodel. And if Cracker Barrel is smart, especially if they did this on purpose, they remodeled the 30 shittiest performing Cracker Barrels that they had that they were probably gonna have to close down anyways. So now they're out $94 million on paper and whatever it costs to remodel 30 Cracker Barrels. $5-10 million, okay? They're out $105 million, 10 of which is real, 94 of which is on paper. In exchange, they've gotten, I don't know, $500 million in free publicity, and now in the other 630 Cracker Barrels all over the country, people are gonna go, oh shit, that Cracker Barrel hasn't been remodeled yet. We should eat there one last time because this is our last chance before they remodel it. All of a sudden, Cracker Barrel has the best year they've ever had. All of a sudden, Cracker Barrel's stock price goes through the roof. Now they're not losing money on paper. They're probably making money on paper, and they've probably made enough to offset the amount they spent remodeling the 30 locations that they were going to close anyways. They close those 30 stores down, and they carry on with business as usual. They change the logo back. They issue some corporate apology like, we've heard your voice, and we...
Yeah, it's the ugly Sonic strategy. Put out some crap, or even if they didn't think they was going to receive any backlash when they retroactively changed the logo, they decided to pivot and go, they fell into the ugly Sonic strategy. Put out something terrible that people, you know, on a brand that people love for the longest time. Say, cook up some cock and baby story about, we heard the criticisms, we'll do what we can to change it back to what the people love, and it's like, yeah, you screwed up and you're trying to cover your ass, or you try to swindle people into like, it's not like they was hurting for money. I doubt it, but you're guaranteeing more revenue by convincing people that, oh, they're the older brand is being changed forever, so last chance to enjoy the ambiance before it completely alters, completely. And it's like, boom, oh, we're not changing after all, so we just got like an influx of customers that we haven't seen in a very long time. All we had to do was trick the customers, which is kind of a shame. You shouldn't have to trick the customers when you don't really need to, because you wasn't hurting for money. That, I think is just like a terrible way to do business, personally. It's like, you're making money, you're doing fine. You don't need to come up with this stupid gimmick, if it was a gimmick.
We respect and value your opinion, and that's why we've decided to bring the old white guy back onto the logo. He's not going to go to the island of misfit toys with Aunt Jemima and the Indian girl from the Land O'Lakes logo and Uncle Ben. No, he's going to stay on the restaurant where he belongs.
You're goddamn right.
And we're not going to remodel any more of the restaurants. Fucking America, the end. Okay, and I know what you're thinking. That seems like an awful lot to go through just to have one good year of sales. And I would agree with you, okay? But here is the reason that I'm giving this a 10% possibility. There was never an issue with Cracker Barrel's decor, okay? Nobody went in there and was ever complaining like, oh shit, this Cracker Barrel looks like a fucking Cracker Barrel, okay? You know what you're getting into when you go to Cracker Barrel. Nobody's complaining. If you go back to before this PR nightmare hit the internet, all of the complaints about Cracker Barrel were about the food quality, menu changes,
do we
and
have a Cracker Barrel in Chicago? I'm pretty sure we do. All those stories you just mentioned, it has to be one in Chicago. Yeah, Tinley Park, Romeoville, Naperville. Okay, why does it gotta be so freaking far away? In Joliet. Outside of Romeoville, all the other stuff is like pretty much like a very clearly on the highway kind of stuff, but also near very white kind of neighborhoods, which is understandable. But you know, definitely out your way. It's not even one downtown, like a small one, but it kind of makes sense. Cracker Barrel is like a highway stop kind of location, which is smart. So you get a lot of people who are doing like road trips or trying to get from one state to another for whatever reason, or truckers. So that's primarily the customers. And as they're traveling along, they might pick up a souvenir. You know, I stopped at a Cracker Barrel kind of thing. So, I don't know. If I ever manage to be anywhere near these locations in Illinois, like Tinley Park or Romeoville or whatever, I want to make sure, hopefully I have the conscious decision to check out a Cracker Barrel.
bad service, okay? Cracker Barrel didn't just remodel 30 locations.
And if you've been to a Cracker Barrel before, leave a comment below. Let me know how is the ambiance and the meals and everything like that. Because I know they typically have like Southern meals, but I'm curious to know what is your experience.
They also revitalized the menu across all 660 Cracker Barrels, including bringing back old favorites like Uncle Herschel's favorite. So presumably they've fixed the actual issues that Cracker Barrel had, but the problem is with the restaurant, once you go there 2 or 3 times and you don't have a good meal, you're probably just never gonna go there again. So they needed to come up with a way to convince people to come back to Cracker Barrel one last time, to give them one last chance, to give them a good experience, and they could have staged this entire PR nightmare on purpose to do just that. And the added kicker, they get to spin the entire thing like, hey, we're the one company that listens to you guys. We're the one company that didn't sacrifice their legendary, well-known mascot and take him off the brand forever. No, we brought him back because you guys wanted him. We kept the restaurant the same because that's what you guys wanted. Cracker Barrel is an American institution, and we listen to you guys and we give you what you want, and then everybody loves Cracker Barrel and their new awesome menu. But like I said, I don't think they're that smart. I give it a 10% chance that that's actually what's happening, and there's a 90% chance that Cracker Barrel is just circling the drain and will be gone in 5 years. So there's that. Thanks for watching. All right, emergency update. Never really had to do this before, and like I said, that's probably because I don't like covering emerging trendy topics, but I guess here we are. Everything you've seen up until this point was filmed on the 24th, and it is now the 26th at approximately 7 o'clock Central Time, and I've just been informed via Twitter or X, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that Cracker Barrel has issued their corporate apology, and they're going to be keeping their original logo. Because of this, I will now be updating my prediction. There is no longer a 10% chance that this is an intentional marketing ploy. There is now a 50-50 chance that this is intentional, they're doing it on purpose, and if they are, it's absolutely genius, and if they're not, it's the worst idea I've ever seen in my entire life. Anyways, thanks for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I feel if it was a smart decision or not. It seems like a horrible gimmick that seems like pointless, because you wasn't hurting for money. You're making billions. So it's like, it would make sense if you wasn't seeing much foot traffic for a good few years. Then it will make sense. But you just doing it because just to trick people to get more customers than you probably seen previously. It just seems kind of I don't know, it's pointless. It's like, why bother? It's like I said, you wasn't hurting for money. It's so weird to me. I know what most people will say. You're not a businessman. I get the strategy. What I'm arguing is just like the point to it. Okay? I'm not saying it was a terrible idea. I just say it's kind of pointless. There was no need for it. Anyway, I will see you guys later. Might pop in to play a little bit more Marvel Rivals. But let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. What is your opinions on the whole situation with the Cracker Barrel ordeal that happened last year? And I will have more reaction videos from the Fat Files. So take care, and I'll see you all soon. Peace.